Soul Loving Ragnarok chapter 348 finally reveals what Suho's job class changed and is much more powerful and crazier than what we thought. Last time, Suho appeared during Grace's succession ceremony, now a lot more powerful, with a more intense and different aura. Using his powers, Suho returned all the experience he had gained from Grace since making him his pet. With the massive level he received from Suho, Grace was finally able to complete his succession ceremony and become the newest king of the beasts, the monarch of the hunt. Now returned to the real world, Suho seeks out the Apostle Conquest to finally finish what he had started. The chapter picks up with us looking at the situation through the Apostle Conquest's eyes. Trapped within the nest of the insect Void Queen, the villain can do nothing but watch as all his plans come crumbling down. The places in which he had set his butterflies were being defeated effortlessly one by one, whether in New York, Korea, China, or even the homes of regular civilians. None of his insects can make a dent in the shield created by Sung Suho. Arsha laughed at the Apostle. Having learned from her own experience, she lectured him, stating that he underestimated the human race too much. But bitter as he was, the Apostle cursed at her, Suho, and all of Earth, preaching that they will all fall when his God finally arrived on Earth. But Suho was unmoved. Even after hearing such curses, Suho calmly approached the Apostle and placed his hand on his head. Even though he cursed him, Suho was going to turn him into a blessing. At that moment, Suho used the skill Blessing of the World Tree, and just as the World Tree once used to purify dead souls to bear fruit, with a calm demeanor, a white energy seeped from Suho's hand into the Apostle Conquest, instantly making the Apostle's vision dark and turning his pupils white. Unfamiliar with Suho's powers, the Apostle tried to discourage Suho, telling him that it's useless and impossible to try and turn him into a shadow soldier, stating that even his father, the great Sung Jinwoo, cannot turn all the apostles into shadow soldiers. But Suho paid no mind to the apostle's words, because his intention was not to turn the apostle into a soldier. That's when the Apostle Conquest saw it, a pure white shadow cast before him. His soul trembled in fear as it was surrounded by the white knight. Wherever he looked, the vast shadow touched and reached. Suho commented that the apostle was not even qualified to become a soldier of his, and used the skill Fruit of the World Tree. At that moment, the apostle's soul was forcibly torn out by the white shadow. Then by using purification, compression, crystallization, and then extraction, Suho was successfully able to create a runestone made out of the Apostle of Conquest. Suho then called Arsha and told her to eat the runestone. Without hesitation, Arsha followed Suho's orders. However, as she digested the runestone, the immense power began to break apart her vessel, making her want to scream in pain. Before a peep could escape, Suho placed his hand over her mouth and told her to endure, promising her that if she can contain that power, he will reward her with the primordial darkness meant for the Queen of Insects. Using his ruler's authority, he crushed Nidhal's last head encased within Circa's ice prison and brought the primordial darkness towards her. With the last head cut off, Nidhal was officially defeated. The system awarded Suho with many level up notifications, a feast of experience points. The very act of defeating Nidhal proved Suho's qualifications, so he also gained advancement points. Enduring the power within the runestone, Arsha let out a sigh of relief. The skills that once belonged to the Apostle of Conquest were now Arsha's, but there was no time to rest. With the primordial darkness that he held compressed in his hand, Suho quickly fed it to Arsha. Fortunately, she now had a proper vessel and the succession was flawless. The primordial darkness smoothly settled itself within Arsha, making her the new official Queen of Insects, the Monarch of the Void. With the arrival of a new monarch, Suho gained more advancement points. Eventually, the system reached its utmost limits and Suho's class was finally determined. At that moment, the white shadow beneath Suho's feet smiled and spoke to him through the system. As if history had repeated itself, the system began to reward Suho with the class Shadow Monarch. However, before it could finish, the predetermined message distorted and reassembled itself. Unlike Jinwoo, who had always fought alone, Suho had consistently fought alongside his allies. To become an asset and help his father in the war against the Eterrum, Suho used any means necessary to become stronger, with his creativity allowing him to reach a positive solution in any means of crisis and a righteous heart to influence those around him and enable them to reach the correct outcome. Suho was granted with 3 classes to choose from. The first class was a Soul Striker class, an advanced martial art class that he once received in high school. The second class was the Monarch of Destruction, a class presented to the player who overcame the Dragon King's trial and proudly proved his qualifications. At that moment, Ragnar appeared beside Suho and awaited his choice. Antares, the previous Monarch of Destruction, watched within Ragnar, waiting for Suho's decision. But even with Antares watching, Suho chose the third option without hesitation. Suho had purposely postponed his class change and accumulated advancement points for this exact moment. Also, without the other two classes, he already had access to their powers and achieved them through his own effort without the class. The primordial darkness, once owned by the Dragon King Antares, was reborn under the third class, granting Suho the title Guardian of the World Tree, the Monarch of Transcendence. Having conquered the Sea of Afterlife, finding the dying world tree within it, and proudly proving through his own efforts the ability to stand face to face with the shadow of the world tree, Suho's new name was the Guardian of the World Tree. Watching Suho, Antares couldn't help but wonder if Jinwoo had planned this the entire time. Sung Suho, whose name directly translates to one who protects and guards the stars, Antares wondered if Jinwoo knew that Suho would become the new Guardian of the World Tree. Seeing Jinwoo within Suho, Antares laughed and wondered if Jinwoo knew how hard his son worked to live up to his name and protect the earth. After all, the Monarch's names were authority and missions given to them by the primordial darkness, and thus, Suho's job class change quest was finally over. Returning back to Antares' comment about Jinwoo, it does seem as if he foresaw Suho become the newest Guardian of the World Tree. At first, I was confused on how Suho's name could correlate to his title as the Monarch, but looking back at it again, one who protects and guards the stars, it is a fitting title for Suho. But why? Well, usually at nighttime, that's when you're able to see the stars, within the vast sea of darkness known as space. There are also beautiful stars that are capable of piercing that darkness and catching your eyes. If you're following what I'm saying, you understand that space represents the sea of the afterlife, the dark void forever vast and far. The stars represent the souls of the fallen waiting to be guided to a new life. When the system bestowed Suho his class, it mentioned that Suho's strength comes from his creative ability to create a positive solution in any means of crisis and a righteous heart to influence those around him and enable them to reach the correct outcome. The key word being correct. Whether this means that Suho is essentially the bridge between life and death, or that now he has the ability to restore the ruler's army and create more angelic soldiers like Bellion, is a mystery. We'll uncover the more we get to see Suho use his new class powers. But what we do know currently is that Suho has revealed some already broken abilities that will be very useful in the future. After becoming the Guardian of the World Tree, Suho has gained access to its abilities. Last chapter, we saw Suho not only heal Gray, but also level him up. He also gained the ability to tear out the souls of his enemies and can convert them into runestones, making his enemy's strength his own or his ally's strength. Also, after more than 100 chapters, Suho will finally be able to make the elixir of life and save his grandfather, Sung Ilwan. For those of you who don't read the light novel, after getting captured by the Church of the Other Gods, Ilwan was implanted with Stardust pieces to make him a high priest. The purpose of this was to use the bodies of the high priest to create a gate or path for the Etarim and their followers to come directly to Earth. To prevent Ilwan's body from deteriorating and becoming a gate, he was forced to stay within a dimension known as the Void. To purify the energy of the Etarim within Ilwan, Suho needed the elixir of life and the world tree to make it possible. With all the ingredients present, Suho can finally save his grandfather. Overall, Suho has taken yet another step towards becoming someone capable of standing by his father's side or even surpassing him. If you enjoyed the chapter, or you have theories of how Suho will use his newfound powers, please comment down below. I would love to see what you guys think. Thanks for watching, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time.